You know, if they don't know Jesus Christ, I can tell you one thing, that's the first step I do. And he's going to make things a whole lot easier for you. Now, it's not going to be a cakewalk all through life. And I tell you something else too. I accepted Christ when I was a young age, but I've sinned every day of my life. And I'm going to continue to do it because I'm a human, I'm a man.
Wow, it's great to be on another Idols Aside podcast. Today is a very special day for Idols Aside. Jason and I are getting to be here with an amazing man of God.
Oh yeah.
But a legend in the hunting world. And we've been talking for a couple hours about hunting and life and Jesus, and we're going to be talking about a lot of that today on this podcast. But what a blessing it is to be with the legend, Harold Knight with Knight and Hale Game Calls. We're at his place here in Cadiz, Kentucky, and hanging out. We got a bass boat behind us. We got some fishing lures behind us. Every type of call you can imagine. And man, we're going to have a good time today. But thank you, Mr. Knight, for being with us today.
It's a pleasure to me to be with y'all. I want you to know that. You know, we set this up a few months ago.
Yes, sir.
And I knew today was going to be the day that I was going to do this show. And I appreciate y'all coming into my place.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for opening up your home.
Well, let's talk a little bit about hunting. We'll talk about Jesus here in a little bit, but let's talk a little bit about hunting. I'd love to, if you could just share with us your first harvest, Mr. Harold, when you were a kid. I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear about your first hunt.
You know, I can't tell you the first thing I killed. Probably was a squirrel. I can remember some of them old hunts a lot better than I can remember some of the recent hunts. I remember going to my granddaddy when I was 5 or 6 years old and watching him shoot a squirrel. And I've got the old gun, an old double barrel. And he shot that squirrel and I run and picked him up. I remember him still moving and all that. Watched him come out on that limb, grab that hickory nut. I can remember that just like yesterday. But a lot of these hunts that just a few years ago, I forgot. I forget, you know. But I can remember that one. But turkey hunting was probably my favorite of all hunting. I've had the opportunity to go elk hunting a lot of years. I killed my 34th bull elk last year.
Wow.
But turkey hunting is by far my favorite hunting. I like to waterfowl hunt, and I used to like to quail hunt when we had quail.
Yeah.
But turkey hunting is my favorite. I killed my first turkey in 1957, the first turkey I ever called up. And I've still got the old gun. I found it. I lost it from 1963 till this year. It come about this year. A cousin of mine had it and told me about it, and I've got the gun back. And the National Wild Turkey Federation came down the first day of turkey season this year, and a friend of mine from Georgetown, South Carolina, Mark Padone, and I went turkey hunting. He's an old double barrel man, and we killed a turkey.
Wow.
And that's the first time I'd shot that gun at a turkey since 1957.
Gosh.
Hey, Harold, if you would tell us a little bit about what it was like being a kid in school and going hunting. You were sharing some stories earlier. I think the audience would love to hear about what it was like as a kid.
I was born and raised in land between the lakes. That between the Tennessee River and the Cumberland River. And I lived over there the first 20 years of my life. And, you know, it's a lot different going to school back in those days than it is now. You know, everybody knew each other. Didn't anybody want to shoot anybody? But I'd take my gun on the school bus and stay all night with my cousin, and nobody thought anything about it. I didn't have a gun case or nothing. And everybody knew what we was going squirrel hunting after school. But anyway, things has really changed, you know. And I can remember getting on the bus, you know, how much the bus driver, he loved to stop and say, y'all want to listen and see if you hear a turkey? Well, I live right next to old Kentucky Woodland National Wildlife Refuge. And, you know, I'd get on the bus early just to drive through that refuge, just hope to get to see a deer or a turkey or ducks and geese.
Right.
But I went to school, a little school, for the first 8 years in Golden Pond. Kentucky, and that's in the land between the lakes. They had you could go to the 8th grade, then you had to go to Cadiz, Kentucky. But I'd change buses. I had to change buses twice to get to school.
Wow.
But anyway, things has changed a lot, in the last 70 years. I can tell you that.
Yep. You get in trouble if you bring a pocket knife to school now.
Yep. Can't even have a case knife in your pocket.
Oh my gosh, we traded knives every day at school, and I'd get with the teachers. Some of them, might have a knife, want to trade or something. But
Bump that B up to an A.
Oh, you can't do that now. Yeah.
It's amazing all that wildlife that's out in the land between the lakes, and a lot of beautiful turkeys, deer. We just had one of our friends that are involved in the ministry, and he's battling cancer right now in his late 20s. But he went out camping about a week ago out in the land between the lakes, and he was sending us pictures of fallow deer.
Yeah.
In the land between the lakes. I didn't know there were fallow out there.
Yeah, they've had fallow deer. They turned those deer loose, I think, in 1922 in that area there.
Wow.
In the 20s.
Yeah. But it was Old Kentucky Woodland National Wildlife Refuge. They moved that when they impounded Lake Barkley. They moved it to Cross Creek, Tennessee. That left Kentucky with the only state in the United States without a national wildlife refuge. So, needless to say, we didn't like that. So they finally got one at Clark's River over at Benton, and that's the way that came about. But the Old Kentucky Woodland was right next to where I was born and raised in Land Between the Lakes, and our farm joined it. And the fallow deer, I could hear them grunting at nighttime like hogs.
Yep.
They rut about a month earlier than your whitetail. They rut in October. Your whitetail would rut in November, and they go. You could hear them, grunting, and I could hear them where I lived, and. Things have changed, but the fallow deer has been there for years and years, and they've survived. Now, it took a toll on them when it took their good habitat out of the river bottoms and impounded Lake Barkley.
And I hear there's a lot of wild hogs there.
Lots of wild hogs.
Farmers don't like pigs in Kentucky.
Well, that's really a bad thing.
Yeah, we don't want hogs.
Somebody slipped those hogs in years ago, and we didn't address it right off.
Yep.
If we got on it early, we could have controlled them, but we didn't do
said
that.
There's thousands of hogs in there
And
today.
it is,
and they can't
it's,
get rid of them.
It's you'll never get rid of them. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And I've got a video where somebody sent me that was 25 or 30 hogs swimming, coming to Lake Barkley, going to the east side of the lake, and on this side right here.
Yeah, that's not
and
good.
So if they watched them do that, just think how many hundreds swims at nighttime and all up and down the river. So we in for tough times, these hogs.
Yeah, we got to get rid of them.
Yeah. You love the turkey. Did you know that it was almost our nation bird?
Yeah, but I'm glad it wasn't. I've heard that talk lots of times. I
don't know all the
got a lot of
details of
respect
it.
for the bald eagle, but the bald eagle is not even in the class of the wild turkey in my book.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's a beautiful bird, and the bald eagle has come back by the thousands in the United States.
Yeah.
Right around here, I see them just practically every day.
Yeah.
And there's several nesting around, and so we got lots of eagles, but we have lots of turkeys. And right now is the time of year that our little turkeys is hatching. And I'm always looking to weather in the last of May and the 1st of June, because heavy cold rains is what is very devastating on these turkeys when they hatched out. And an old hen's going to sit on that nest for 28 days, and it's getting about time. Some of them's already been hatched, because I've heard people call me and tell me we saw some little turkeys. But the most of them is going to start hatching right now, the next few days. So I hope we don't have any great big rains and cold spells, because that hurts those little turkeys. But they're a tough little bird.
Everything's after them.
Everything's after them. Nest predators is bad on our turkeys, and there's probably more turkeys killed in the state of Kentucky by bush hogs and mowing and hay baling and combining than the other thing. But farmers got to make a living. I understand that, You got to cut the hay and do that, but we destroy a lot of hens' nests.
Dang. What was it that made turkey your favorite?
Well,
Or what about the bird?
it was because I never could figure them out. I think this is my 69th year to hunt them. They humble me every year,
Yeah.
and I like that.
Still to today.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna kill a few turkeys every year. I think this year I watched a lot of turkeys killed, but I had lots of people that hunted with me in several different states, and I watched a lot of turkeys shot, and a lot of people kill the first turkeys. I always enjoy that. I had 2 or 3 women that hunted this year and watched them shoot turkeys, and I enjoyed that. And I had several film crews that filmed turkeys, and that makes it harder. I always say one person is a crowd turkey hunting. When you put 2 or 3 out there, and maybe 4, that's a capacity crowd, and it makes it tough.
It's hard to be sneaky.
Yeah, that's right.
We experience that a lot with kids that we take hunting.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I've been talking to y'all about what y'all do, and I think what y'all do is absolutely great. Taking these kids hunting and getting involved in hunting, and a lot of these kids don't have the opportunity to have a mom or dad to take them hunting, or a brother or sister maybe to take them hunting, and y'all take them out there and hunt them, and that's great.
Yeah, we've both killed our fair share of harvests, and it's more exciting for us to see a young man and young woman harvest their first deer or first turkey, and just see the excitement and the joy, and that can change a lot for those young people, and many of them, they meet God out in God's creation for the first time. So
and see how things work. I always tell people, God's got a part in turkey hunting big time, because you look. He's got that old gobbler. He's got that in the spring of the year. He's a different color. He's so shiny and pretty. He got that iridescent colors. His head is red, white, and blue, and that's to attract that hen.
Yep.
And the hen is a little dull-looking, pale, just a camouflaged little bird, and she's got to sit on that nest for 28 days. And God's even made her smell's not as plentiful when she's sitting on that nest as it is other times of the year, so that things can't smell her. She's camouflaged, and she has to sit on that for 28 days. She get off and feed a little bit and get right back on.
Yeah.
And and to do that and reproduce like that, and how beautiful that gobbler is, that's something.
Yep.
It's the opposite in humans. Us dudes are ugly, and the women are pretty.
Absolutely right. 100% opposite. The men's ugly, the women are beautiful.
Right.
Maybe we just need a snood.
Let me ask you a question. Idols aside.
Yes, sir.
Now, who come up with that, and what does that mean?
Yeah, back in 2008, my wife and I were the founders of Idols Aside. We're in the middle of a Bible study, and Exodus 23, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me," came to our minds, and that was in a season where I still struggled somewhat, asking the Lord, Lord, you let me play college football. Got a little glimpse after college, and God, if you would have just given me this platform to be able to play professional sports, I would have given you all the glory. And I had some friends of mine that were playing in the NFL, and I was struggling because they were taking the glory for themselves and not giving it to God. And I'm like, God, if you just, I would have put my idols aside. But to make a long story short, the Lord told me in a dream that He wanted me to use everything in my life. Growing up, when my mom was 15 when she had me, that my parents got divorced when I was 4. Saw my dad a couple times a year growing up, all the way throughout high school. But that story of my childhood, getting to play college football, getting to have experience in the corporate world, in sales and in the construction world, the Lord said, Mark, I want you to take all those things I put in your life, and I want you to take all that to go about my business and love on these kids that don't have an earthly father. And so that's how it came about. And my wife was very involved in helping brand that, the name of it, and a buddy that I grew up with, he helped give us the logo, if you want to call it that. But
that's what it is.
But it's not about the logo; it's about our hearts and what we're doing, and it's been a lot of fun. We're about 18 and a half years in this thing now.
18 and a half years. That's
Yes, sir.
pretty that blame good.
Yep. When I started, I had hair. I don't now, and I'm all gray now. And I used to have my beard color used to be about the color of Jace's. So, but no, it's been some of the outside of my salvation and marrying my best friend and my bride. We've been married 24 years and have 2 daughters. God's blessed me with so many things, but to be able to do this, for a job in a mission field, to build God's kingdom and see these kids that have been through tough things in life and see these kids surrender their life to Jesus, and we get to be on lakes and rivers and creeks and the woods, and it's just it's a gift. I mean, I feel like I'm so
how
blessed.
How are y'all financed, Mark?
It's amazing what the Lord has done. We do not accept any federal funds or government or state funds. We're privately funded. And so we have businesses and corporations and individuals, families, churches, foundations, people that see that we have a heart for Jesus and that we have a heart for the outdoors, but most importantly have a heart for fatherless and single moms. And it's been really neat just to see the people that God's put in our path. Everybody from a widow that's on Social Security that may give $20 a month, to a professional athlete, to somebody that could be a multimillionaire that owns a company. And God has taken everybody, and it doesn't matter if somebody gives $1 or writes $100,000 check. God is every one of those people are a blessing to us, and we're amazed at what God has done. And we're just a bunch of crazy rednecks that grew up without dads, and we love the Lord. But I think because we have stepped out in faith and we've been obedient, we've seen God do things that man can't do.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great story. I can tell you that.
So,
that's a great story. And, the sky's the limit, what you can do.
Yeah, nothing's too big for God.
That's exactly right.
I've learned that for sure.
I'll read you a text message I got last night. I sent it to the team. This young man that he's been on our program probably for 3 years now, and he sent this last night. He said, "I just want to say thank you so much for everything you have done for me. Just taking me to the lodge and to be away from everything else that was going on in my life. It really made me think about what I was doing, and it's been helping me get closer to God and getting to do things that I never would have been able to, like y'all taking me to Texas, to church camp, and so many other things. Without you, Mark, Matthew, and everybody else, I don't think I would have even thought about trying to get this job that I just got accepted on. And you guys have encouraged me so much, and I just want to say thank you and that I love you." So it's,
that is absolutely.
And he just graduated 8th grade, going into high school. So
yep, he's in Paducah.
Y'all got that kid started in the right direction.
So, yep, and another blessing on top of that is his mother 2 months ago came to church and has been just battling with life, and she fully surrendered her life to Christ and got saved.
Yeah.
So now we got a kid that a mama and a boy that's living for the Lord.
Yeah,
So,
a whole family dynamic right there.
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's stories like that keeps us motivated, because we've got tough days, that's for sure, with kids and families. But when you see a text like that or a conversation with a kid like that, it's so encouraging, and it reminds you of why we're doing what we do. So we love it.
Well, y'all just keep that good work up, and I know that y'all gonna be blessed even more. I can see that. I can see y'all for real.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Knight. You've seen a lot in life. You've lived a couple years.
I have.
And the world we live in, we see a lot of good things, but I think we see a lot of hard things and bad things too. And almost 1 out of every 2 homes in America today, the home is broken. Kids are growing up without a dad. And a lot of these moms, they don't know how to do the hunting and the sports. And so you see a lot of kids today a lot of boys that are growing up that don't know how to change a tire or to change a light bulb, or to use a pocket knife, or to build a campfire, to grill a hamburger. Mow a yard. We helped a kid get a mower and some equipment, here a couple weeks ago. But just a lot of these things that we saw as kids, that Jason I saw, and I know you saw growing up. I mean, when you were a kid growing up, you had to work. There wasn't no option. Like you were, and the world today just seems to be a lot different. And I think it's because And these single moms are my heroes, by the way. They're doing double, triple duty, but a lot of men, have walked away from their families and their kids. But what advice would you give to these boys today that are growing up, that are teenagers, that are going through battles, and just trying to figure out life,
trying to figure out what it's like to be a man?
Yeah, it's what I'd tell them. If they don't know Jesus Christ, I can tell you one thing. That's the first step I'd do. And he's going to make things a whole lot easier for you. Now, it's not going to be a cakewalk all through life. And I tell you something else, too. I accepted Christ when I was a young age, but I've sinned every day of my life. And I'm going to continue to do it because I'm a human. I'm a man. Yep. But, if they get right with God, I'm telling you, that's the first step I'd do if I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And things will fall in place a lot easier then than you're not knowing Jesus Christ. I can tell you that. And I can't say I've lived very long with not knowing Jesus. I knew, but I didn't do exactly what I need to do. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. We've all been there.
Yeah. And still that way. Let me tell you something. The devil is a powerful dude.
He is.
Yeah, but he ain't he's not even in a class with God.
He's crafty.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
But anyway, you have temptations, you're going to have them every day. Something, And I look through, I'm 82 years old, and I've been blessed with good health. The good Lord, I thank him every day. Lord, you let me live another good day, mm-hmm. and I'm up this morning feeling good. My land, I just can't thank God enough for what He's done for me. I look back, when you get my age, you can look back and see things that happened, and God had a big hand. He was the man that done it.
Yep.
And I look at stupid things I done. And he saved me from just really getting in terrible trouble or getting hurt.
Yep, Jason and I talk about that a lot.
Yeah, we talk about that daily.
God's grace is good, isn't it? Yeah. His mercy is good.
Oh, my land. His mercy and grace is, he gives it to us every day. Mm-hmm. And my land, if I could tell young guys just exactly what it means to be a Christian without being a Christian, you jump right at it. I can tell you that, because it's going to be so much easier for you. Yep. I don't know if I answered your question, but I can tell you, put it in a short version. Accept Jesus Christ, and things will get a lot easier.
That's your foundation.
That's right.
And we were talking about that earlier before the podcast. You mentioned just a few things that this foundation has helped you be where you're at today, and God blessed you with your wife, who's your best friend.
That's right.
And a business partner that you've been doing business with for over 50 years. But all of you got Christ as your foundation, so
Absolutely.
you're all going in the same direction.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And don't get me wrong, we make mistakes every day. We sin every day.
Yeah.
And
my wife loves me, but there's some days she don't like me.
Yeah. Amen, brother.
I hear
Preach.
that. But I tell you what, if I look back, at a young age, I was talking to you back earlier. I love to hunt, and one of my goals when I was a little kid, I wanted to kill a goose, and I was living in Land Between the Lakes, and I was hunting by myself. Didn't have any shells. I was telling you back earlier, I go buy shells. I'd buy 3 at a time.
3 at a time.
A nickel a piece. That's all the money I had. It's hard to scrounge that up. But anyway, I went one day, and these 2 geese landed out in the field. I had me a little corn stalk blind by myself. They's too far to shoot. I said, now if I get down and crawl, maybe I can get closer. I had an old double barrel shotgun. I got down and crawled in the mud. And then I said, if I can get up and make about 15 quick running steps, maybe I can get a shot. And that's what I did. And they flew. Of course, they saw me. I shot and broke one's wing. The race was on, brother. I caught him. And I looked, and he had a band on his leg.
Wow.
And I've got this band right here.
Check that out.
That's a Jack Miner band.
Jack Miner band.
Kingsville, Ontario, Canada. And the Bible verse was Mark 11:22, have faith in God. And I said, if that ain't something, I couldn't wait. I'd run to it's a mile from the house. I'd drug that goose to the house. And my granddaddy, I never will forget, he was a school teacher. And he said, well, we need to write and see what's going on there. So we wrote to Jack Miner. He sent me a bunch of literature back. That's the way they did their missionary work, was banning ducks and geese. And they'd fly from Kingsville, Ontario, Canada, to land between the lakes, Kentucky, to a little redneck boy.
Now, what a way to share the gospel. That goose right there shared the gospel.
That's right. And so years later, I killed another one. And I said, God, you trying to tell me something? I need to straighten my life up more is all I can say. And I really believe that. But anyway, it had the same Bible verse on it.
Wow.
And then a few years ago, I was in an organization called the Legends of the Outdoors. And there's going to have one of Jack Miner's sons that was going to be inducted into it in Nashville, Tennessee. So I said, my gosh, I want to go meet this guy and talk to him. And I did. And I was expecting to see a younger person. He was older than I was, and I'm an old man. And I said, you had an influence on my life. I want you to know that. I Killed a Goose had a Bible verse on Mark 11:22. And that got me thinking about wanting to be a Christian, being saved. And I said, that helped me a lot. And he did. And he said, we still doing it. He said, we still banning these ducks and geese, and they flying all over
Sharing Jesus.
the country. And I found out something else last year. I was in a hunting camp in Illinois or somewhere. I go to several hunting camps for different events. And a guy said, do you know what a Jack Miner band's worth now? And I said, I have no earthly idea. I know this one's not for sale. But he said, some of them are bringing as much as $1,000.
A band.
A band.
Wow.
I said, it's not for sale for no amount of money, but I guess they're getting a little scarcer to find and everything.
Yeah, right.
But that was my story on really something that jump-started me to want to be a Christian.
Wow. That's a neat thing. That's a pretty cool mission field.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you had always kind of believed in God,
Oh,
right? But
absolutely.
that
I was
took
raised
your
up in a
relationship
church.
to the next.
I was raised up in a church in Land Between the Lakes, a little one-room church. And when the lake was impounded, Lake Barkley, they moved that church back on some land my granddaddy gave them to put it on. And it stayed there till they impounded the whole LBL, Tennessee Valley Authority, come in and bought the rest of it.
Yep.
But Cumberland Baptist Church.
Cumberland Baptist Church.
Yep.
In the hunting world or in your walk with Christ, has there ever been, a godly man or a person that poured into you as like a mentor, somebody you looked up to, even from a young age or later in life as a business owner?
I run into people that I hate to say it, but I probably should. I didn't talk about our faith, and we should have. I've had a lot of people. I'd wondered about their faith after they left, and we'd be hunting or fishing or something. But one guy that comes to mind that has been a friend of mine for the last 30 plus years is Hank Parker. I've done a lot with Hank. I've fished with Hank. I've hunted with Hank. I've been around Hank a lot. And Hank Parker is a godly man, and I can tell you that. And he really, really has had some influence on me too. Yeah. So I can't outdo him, but he's one of the best motivators and speaking for Jesus Christ I ever heard.
Wow.
Yeah. And
awesome.
He's got a great testimony and story to tell.
Yeah. I asked that just because, for the kids we serve, mentorship is such a huge part of what we do.
Absolutely.
And a lot for me, growing up fatherless. I didn't have that mentor or a youth pastor or anybody coming to serve me in the school, and I made a lot of dumb decisions growing up, and I wish I would have just had somebody point me on the right path early on to save me from some of that heartache and headache and trouble.
Well, you look like you're doing pretty good. God took care of you pretty good, brother. He's got you.
Absolutely.
He's got you into something that.
Yeah, he blessed me with
it.
my wife and my two
That's
boys.
right.
And
Yeah.
You got a sweet family.
I'm head over heels.
But I talked to y'all earlier about y'all like to hunt, and you take these kids on these hunts, and a lot of people are sharing their places for y'all to go hunting.
Yes,
and I think that's pretty neat too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've
And
been
a lot of different geographical areas in the country y'all get to go to.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we own our own hunting lodge down in Florida and in Kentucky. But as we've been expanding to Texas, and have had some 2 families that have been a real big blessing to let us hunt there. And our ultimate goal, long term for Idols Aside, is just to see the body of Christ and godly people, serve fatherless and single moms. And we don't have to have hunting lodges all over the country and offices, but if we can get people to love the least of these and take them hunting, fishing, have them in your home, have a dinner for them, just do life with them. That's my heartbeat. People ask me all the time, if God could do anything you wanted for the ministry, what would it be, Mark? And my answer is armies of people fighting for fatherless.
Yep.
That's my heart. So,
Yep.
That sounds great, Mark. I tell you what, I'm just thankful what y'all doing. I said it a while ago, and I'll say it again. The sky's the limit. Y'all got so many kids out here y'all can reach.
that's what Cy Robertson says. Sky's the limit.
Yep. Well,
Y'all both say the same thing.
yeah.
Y'all must
Well,
be
yeah.
hanging out with each other.
Well, I don't personally know Cy, but I understand that he speaks highly of Jesus Christ, and
He does.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I know his brother did.
Phil, yes, sir.
Phil, he really did, and he used his last years pretty strong, taking up for Jesus Christ. I can tell you that.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Yeah, he pulled the curtain back on his whole story and let the whole world know all the good, bad, and ugly.
That's right.
And God worked it all together for the good.
Well, if you live as long as Phil and I have lived, you're gonna have some things you ain't proud of.
No, we've all been there.
Yeah, but we just got to try to do better and just try to serve God more. That's all we got to do.
Yeah.
I got to have dinner and meet Burt Reynolds, a few years before he passed, and Bobby Bowden baptized him, and Burt got saved, a few years before he passed away. And I remember sitting at a table with him and just seeing tears come down his face when he was watching Bobby Bowden speak. And I said, "Mr. Reynolds, you okay?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, I just every time I hear the gospel now, I just cry. And I said, "Why is that, sir?" And he said, he said, "If you know the life that I live, son," he said, I was an idiot and a hellion." And he just said, he said, "I just, to see God's grace and mercy on a man like me, and he said, if you'll do me a favor," he said, "if you just do me a favor, don't give up on us old guys." That's what he asked me. He said, "Don't give up on us old guys." And he was in his later years, and
That's great.
So,
That's a great story.
Lord's good. Don't matter how old you are. What we once saw a guy, it was in his 80s. Tim Tebow spoke in Florida for our ministry. It was a big fundraising event, and a guy that was in his 80s who was got a silver medal for diving in the Olympics, he came forward and surrendered his life to Christ. So, it's never too late for none of us, right? So
Absolutely, it's not too late. And I tell you what, I don't care how tough you've been, how many bad things you've done. Jesus Christ can do away with all that stuff.
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why we were so excited to meet with you and do the podcast with you, because you do have such a voice in the hunting industry, and there's a lot of hunters out there that are good old country boys, right? But
Yeah.
they might say they love God or know God, but they haven't really took that all-in step. And your voice of just encouraging them to take that step it could be a salvation game changer for them.
Well, I hope it is. I hope something I say that make people accept Jesus Christ. But I've got a lot of friends that knows Jesus. I mean, a lot of hunting in the hunting industry.
Yep.
A lot of good people. It's a lot of good people, and there's some out there that is on the borderline, but
Still good people. They just
good
don't know
people.
Jesus.
Yep.
I don't know a single person in the hunting industry I dislike. That's the honest truth. I mean, I
Praise
like
God.
all of them. All my competition, game call companies, I hope every one of them does good. All of them are good people. I mean, they are, really are.
There's only been 2 I haven't liked in the hunting world. I got peppered one time on a dove hunt, and that didn't feel good. So that old boy got me fired up. And then when somebody hunts your property without permission, that'll get you fired up a little bit.
Well,
But I showed forgiveness.
yeah, that's right. You know,
because I was young and dumb at one time too.
yeah, you can ask for forgiveness, and it'll get a lot easier for you.
Yeah, it helps, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I've asked forgiveness a lot in life.
Now I want to say one thing, Jace.
Yes, sir.
You got me a while ago, brother. I asked him about his little. He had a little thing around his neck there.
Yep.
And I said, that's too big for, what is that? That ain't a mustard seed. That's too big. And he said, well, it's a kidney stone. And I'd bet for it. But it is a mustard seed. But what that mustard seed has done, it's grown.
Yep.
It has grown.
It's growing.
And it's got bigger. A mustard seed is very small.
Yes, sir.
Because I plant mustard seeds every year because I like turnip greens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, that means your faith is growing.
Hey, praise the Lord. I'm trying to grow closer to Him every day. Yeah. Last one busted open, so I had to get a new one. Didn't look like a seed anymore. So, man.
Do you have any other Jesus or counsel or hunting counsel or of advice for the world?
Gosh, if I'd think about them, I probably got lots of them. You know, I've had the opportunity to hunt for the last 69 years turkey, and hunted several years before that squirrel hunting and stuff. And I've been blessed, get to do a lot and get to go to a lot of places and meet a lot of people.
Yes, sir.
And I remember one time Dave and I went to down Atlanta, Georgia. The guy that's in charge of the Southern Baptist Convention, we took him turkey hunting. And I'm going to think of his name in a minute. I'm still in contact with him some, but anyway, he killed a turkey. But he was for real, the guy was. I was really impressed with him too.
Praise God.
Yep. It's fun building relationships and doing life with people in God's creation.
Yep.
So I tell people all the time that outside of salvation, the greatest thing in life is creation, and that's people, and it's the outdoors. It doesn't get much better than that.
That's another thing. I think I like spring of the year too, turkey hunting. Everything is coming alive. You think about it.
It does.
Your flowers, your trees are budding out. Your birds is happy singing.
Yeah,
They've got a mating sound, all your little birds, and just everything's coming alive.
Yep.
And that's spring turkey season. I guess that's the reason I like it too.
It's
Evidence of God.
proof
Yeah.
that God is real.
Yeah.
So we have no excuse
Yeah.
not knowing He's real.
Well, good deal. Well, thank you for your time today.
Well, listen,
Mr.
I
Harold?
appreciate y'all coming up, and I tell you, we've been talking about this, and maybe I can do something else for you one of these days. Maybe I can help take a kid hunting.
Yeah, that'd be
Or
good.
something
That'd
Be
be
a
that.
blessing.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
That would be an honor.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
thank
But
you.
again, I appreciate y'all coming up.
Only God could put 3 knuckleheads like us together.
Yeah. Yeah, what y'all doing, I'm impressed. I won't tell you that. I think that's a great thing. Idols aside, that's a great name, and you explained what it was to me, and I thought that was pretty good.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you, and thank you for your testimony and your character. And you've been a legend for the Lord in the battlefield of life, and but also a legend in the woods. And I'm so excited for kids and hunters just to hear our talks today.
Well, I hope a lot of these kids hear it and listen to it and take it to heart. I can tell you that.
Yes,
Awesome.
sir.
Sounds good. Well, thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Thank y'all.